Thank you, Madam President. This is Senate Bill 4305. Will require cell providers or anyone who owns a cell phone tower to make a report to the Public Service Commission by 2025 on how they're going to fully electrify that tower. And they have to do that by 100% renewable energy to power the cell phone tower by 2031. On its face, I know with a lot of the goals that the Climate Action Council has laid forward, on its face, this may sound like it's in line with where New York State is going. I don't believe that this is a well-intentioned bill. I think this is actually, and I know we often say that, oh, this bill has great intent, if only you changed a couple of things. In this case, I think we've missed it entirely. We're once again missing the forest for the trees, and this is dangerous. In rural areas of New York State, backup generators are often required exactly for the reasons that long transmission lines to a cell phone tower way out in a remote area, if they go down, they are way late on the priority list for emergency services who are concerned with urban areas where densely populated areas need to get the power back on. They're not as concerned about sending power out to those areas, and likely you, for your constituents, want them concerned about the urban areas before they're concerned about long transmission lines out into the woods to power a cell phone tower. So the solution is already out there. Backup generators already exist, and like I said, in many areas are required. Some of these cell phone towers have somewhere between 4 and 48 hours of backup batteries. But as we know, after long-term power outages, backup generators are required. Once again, these could be diesel, they could be propane, they could be natural gas, depending on what the area has. This bill has the unintended consequence, I believe, of putting some of the forest lands in New York State in danger, because look at the options. Some towers are actually completely off-grid currently. Members of this body, before they vote, might not know that, but there are some that are completely detached from the grid. So that means if it sits in a forest preserve area like the Adirondack Park, that tower will need transmission lines, which means you're going to require trees to be cut down to get to that tower in order to connect it, or it will need to cut trees down in a larger footprint to allow for the renewable energy that may be required by 2031 in this legislation. This bill is much more than just a study on how to power cell phone towers. It's setting a very dangerous precedent. You don't want to mess with this. Right now, counties, emergency services, cell phone towers are working in concert to make sure that there's connectivity for your emergency services and for constituents that need to call those emergency services. And listen, when the power goes out, you want to make sure that your police officers, your firefighters, and your EMS can get connected to people who are in emergency situations. This is ill-advised and can be very dangerous for a lot of areas of New York State. So, Madam President, I'll be voting no, and I encourage my colleagues to do the same.